Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to another Freestyle Friday session. My name is Sean and today's topic is going to be something that I love. It's leadership. The reason why I love leadership so much is because it's so dynamic, right? And the ripple effect afterwards, right? It might be like a selfish desire for within, right? You want to be better, you want to do more, you want to do it. But it ends up being an outward expression of love in relationships and building that trust. And that's what it's all about, right? Building that community and how you are able to be a leader. You want to be a better husband, a better father, a better mother, a better daughter, a better son, a better spouse. Pick up a leadership book, pick up a leadership seminar, and I guarantee you can help you in multiple ways. There's so many different categories of leadership, right? That it can really just improve your tools or bring tools to your toolbox, and then it becomes this outward expression of how you're able to handle that. It allows me to be a better husband, honestly. It allows me to be a better father. And I just love leadership so much, not just in the military aspect of great leaders that we read about and we hear about, but just being a leader and a role model for my family, and helping my wife be a leader in her workplace, helping my wife be a leader and her achieving leadership qualities and attributes within our kids, and they look to her as a powerful role model. And those are great things, and it all stems from leadership attributes and qualities, right? So that's why I love leadership so much. But nonetheless, I'll try to get to the topic. We're going to talk about adaptability. Especially in today's environment with COVID and everything else, adaptability is going to really enhance you and take your leadership role to a whole nother level. And we'll talk a little bit about how that ties in. We're going to talk about what does your win look like, right? If you read, what is the why, or Simon Sinek, right? He talks about the why. We're going to talk about what is the win, or what does your win look like, and we're going to all tie it back to values. And if you reach back to some of my other videos, I do talk about value-based goals, or SMART goals, and making sure that those are in line with what you should be trying to achieve. But yeah, check those out. I'll drop a description down below so you can see the links. If not, just go to my channel and you can check out my latest playlist. But nonetheless, adaptability, values, and what does your win look like? So I want to talk about adaptability first within COVID environment. Really being hard, right? It's been challenging for a lot of us. It impacted us a lot of different ways, right? It could be you could have lost a loved one with COVID or from COVID. You could have lost a job. You could have done a lot of things. You're teleworking. It kind of disrupted your normal day-to-day routine. You might have not been able to go to the gym. You might not have been able to go to church. You might have not been able to maintain what I like to consider those 5 pillars of resilience, right? We talk about financial pillar. We talk about a social, spiritual, mental, and physical pillar of resilience. And resilience is the ability to bounce back, right? But we don't want to just bounce back to where we ended up falling or slipping behind. We want to bounce back and keep that momentum moving forward and continue to progress. So a mentor told me today, if you're not progressing, you're regressing. There's no thing of being stagnant, because stagnant is really a key of regressing or digressing, right? So you either progress or you digress. So we want to make sure that we progress through these challenges, these trials and tribulations that all of us are facing in multiple different ways. It's just unique to how it might affect you, right? So with all the negative, right, there is some positive, right? And hopefully you guys are able to look at the light and be adaptable, and adapt your methodology, adapt your behaviors, adapt some of your mannerisms behind this, and maybe get behind something that could be positive, right? Maybe you have a little bit more time and now you're going to school, or maybe you have more time and you're picking up additional hobby, or maybe you're finding yourself doing things that you were generally putting back to the back burner. You're picking up more books, you're reading more, you're taking up art, whatever it might be. Maybe you're finding some other things. Maybe you're trying new hobbies. So with the negative of maybe some of those aspects, you might have been able to be blessed with some of those other pros to look at. So it's really being adaptable in today's environment. I truly believe that from this COVID experience, although some of it can be summed up into a negative, we're going to have a major breakthrough in just life. I really think this is going to build a generation or a society, a community of just, man, the hard knocks. I think we're going to look at things differently on how we handle our hygiene, how we manage ourselves, what we do. in a national setting. I think it's going to change a lot of what we do economically with businesses and how we're able to streamline that. I know technology is advancing in other aspects within just the social media platforms and how we're able to connect. But guys, if you don't change your environment, and if you stay within the environment that's being constructed around you, and you're not being adaptable within that environment, you're not going to be as an effective leader as you could be, right? You gotta see a challenge in multiple ways, right? You got something in front of you, you got an obstacle, you can go around it, left, right, you can go above it, you can go under it, or you can go through it. There's no obstacle that I don't think that you guys can't push through. So if there's a hard thing in your life right now, let me know. Let someone know. Don't stop there, and if you see something, if you're on the receiving end, you see something on Facebook or social media that just doesn't sit right, and it draws a red flag, man, reach out to them and get them some help and see what's going on. Depression has increased since COVID because of all these things. And it's severe. So we need to make sure that we're taking care of our community and we're taking care of ourselves first and foremost, to make sure that we can go in 100% and take care of others. Adaptability, being adaptable. Adaptable leader is going to help you mix and mold from one environment, one challenge to another, because not everything is cookie cutter, and you're going to have to go by case basis. So you need to be adaptable in these situations to find the positive outcome within this situation. Okay, so adaptability, right? I want to talk about values. I want to talk about what does your win look like. My wife and I, we've been talking back. We added a lot of these things in our lives afterwards, right? So COVID kicked off, and we started going to school again. We started taking up classes, going towards our master's and bachelor's degree, and we're so close to holding them. That certificate feels amazing. But nonetheless, we added some other things. We're volunteering. We're trying to stay active in our community. We're doing some things here and there. And my wife is also homeschooling our boys. So there's those challenges as well, right? So we increase our things to keep us busy. I picked up woodworking, but we need to tie it back to our values. If we lose sight of our values within those goals originally stated, we're not going to have pleasure. It's just going to feel like it's just empty void, and we're just filling it and filling it and filling it, and we're never going to be satisfied. And if you feel like what I'm saying right now applies to you, I would ask you and challenge you to look at your values, look at your routine. Look at your daily routine. 24 hours, write everything you do for 24 hours of that day and do it for an entire week. And then start nitpicking, right? Like, is this tied to a value? Is me just scrolling aimlessly for hours on end looking at my phone or Facebook or whatever, is that tying back to a value? And if not, then maybe I need to minimize that, because what is that doing, right? We talked about dopamine in the chemical of the brain that really is addictive, and it makes you feel good in the time, but it's addictive and it keeps you going. That's what dopamine does, and that's what your phone is. It's a dopamine release of your chemical. So just ask yourself those questions, those hard, challenging questions. The wife and I had to do it last week. We keep doing it. We keep on coming back. We say, why are we filling our time with all this stuff and we still don't feel satisfied? So we looked back, right? We said, because we're not tying it back to a value. If our value is relationships, our value is family, our value is connectiveness, our value is community, what are we doing to do these things, right? Don't just do it to fill time. Oh, I have the time, I might as well do this. Like, fill it with something. So I started woodworking, and I created my first project, and I was like, man, at the end of the day, like, it really did nothing for me. Like, it was fun. I got out there, spent some time, crafting and whatnot. But at the end of the day, could I have made it better? And that's where I brought my son in. I said, Isaac, I'm going to teach you how to swing a hammer. I'm going to show you the pros and cons of when you measure twice and cut once. I'm going to show you some safety processes and procedures when we're dealing with this heavy machinery and equipment. So I took it as a life lesson, and a lesson for him that later on can establish these morals and ethics within his own work pattern, right? Where he might establish these things and have that be generationally. Now, it doesn't just happen once over time. You got to have these patterns and have these effective patterns come through. But nonetheless, now if I tie it back to my leadership, aspect of now I can lead my son, and I tie that back to my value of family. Now woodworking becomes more than just a hobby that I'm filling a time, but a value-based goal or hobby that I'm including with my boys, and I'm teaching them a valuable lesson, and now I might instill some sort of passion and influence on their life. So really, guys, again, that's just one example. Try to tie this back to many things in your life, right? Are you not satisfied with your weight? Are you gaining weight? Are you losing weight? Are you having a difficult time involving in a church or maintaining your spirituality? Have you not been reading as much books? Ask yourself this one question. Why aren't you doing it on a routinely basis? Build a pattern and have that pattern, right? And continue that pattern. Do it on a routinely basis. Because my buddy posted this thing. He said, why don't you work out regularly, throughout the week? I was just on his post and I read through it, and he had like 50 comments, and it was like, all of the examples, you start summing up and seeing this trend that it's just simply an excuse. It's a lame excuse. Not enough time, not enough conviction, not enough motivation, not enough this, not enough that. And it's like, hold on. But yeah, I can spend hours binge watching TV, hours streaming through my phone, and just countless of times. So why aren't I picking up a book? Why aren't I doing a 20-minute, 30-minute badass workout that gets my blood flowing and builds those patterns of effectiveness? And you establish that over time, you're going to be a better leader by being adaptable, by being tying it back to your values, and lastly, talking about tying it back to what does that win look like, right? So does $20,000 in your savings account look like a win to you? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So look to those 5 pillars: financial wins, spiritual wins, physical wins, mental wins, and social wins. What does those 5 wins look like? And really categorize. And then when you identify that weekly pattern of 7 days of your entire schedule and routine of what you've been doing, and you start nitpicking that don't apply to your value, they're anti-values, get rid of them or minimize them and replace it with something else. Instead of streaming through Facebook, pick up a book and read a chapter or two. Instead of doing this, take your kids out to a park and enjoy time with them. So guys, I know this was a little bit longer of a video. I apologize if I was a little bit scatterbrained. A lot of content that I wanted to give you. Again, I hope you guys appreciate this. I hope you guys enjoy this content. Please stay tuned for more content down the road. But yeah, we talked about leadership, right? I love leadership. Guys, pick up a book. Don't stop growing. It's all about that growth mindset. Continue to reach out for your community. Continue to reach out and grow yourself so you can grow others around you. And really, it's just about watering that seed and planting those seeds. And, you might not be one day to harvest that plant or harvest that fruit, but know that you're doing the right thing, that one day someone's going to come around and say, hey, that fruit's ready to pick. And they pick it, and it was because you planted it.